Be me. Go on picnic with family outside of Huancayo, Peru, we used to live there. Go to foggy area, pretty chill day. Eat our lunch and decide to explore the local mountainside. Fog began to clear up by then, notice all the little caves dotting the mountainside. Spend next 3 hours looking through all the caves, most are super shallow and nothing really of interest. We save the big cave for last. We all head in and notice a worn path slightly up the side. Take it and look over. Fucking skeleton is right there, the head is severed and the rest of the body is scattered all around. My sister takes her hat off and snaps a pic of the skelly. Friend with us claims it was a young woman, I don't know if it was true. Spend rest of the day spooked. Here's the actual mountain. I got one from a few months back when doing a month of training in Louisiana. Be me in a army spending a few weeks sucking in the Louisiana woods. Get put in charge of a listening/observation post with 2 other guys about an hour before dark. Settling in for the night, give sectors, stage gear for quick exfil in case of contact, eat dinner, take piss etc. I am on the 3 o'clock just finished eating as darkness was falling. Throw my MRE trash at a tree 10 meters or so away and put on my NVGs. We sit there for maybe a good hour before we start hearing shit moving around us through the brush. Hear a snarl and tactically shit myself as something fast and hairless with a snub face and long torso runs maybe 3 feet past me to my trash, looks at me as I jump up and yell, it growls. Ugliest thing I ever seen, looked like a skinned cat but the size of a German shepherd. Go for my rifle, lol blanks, but why not? Look back up and it's gone. Receive contact for giving away position by yelling and run back to our platoon. Do not sleep that night. I swear it was unlike any animal I have ever seen, fucking terrifying. Pick related kind of what it looked like, but it sprinted real weird, almost like an alligator real close to the ground. Here's one of 2 stories from the Emerald Isle of Ireland. My uncle and his buds are exploring the mountains in Wicklow in the 90s. He's changed some details over the years, so take with a grain of salt. There is sweet fuck all in the Wicklow mountains, fields and forests, and then more fields and maybe a shed. Him and his friends just want a quiet place to drink and camp. He is with Tom and Declan. Tom is skittish skinny fucker and always has been. Declan is built like a fucking bear. They find a place, camp with a little barbecue out of their shitty hatchback car. Typical stuff. Tom heads off for a piss in the woods drunk. Uncle and Declan have a laugh for a while, drinking and doing dumb shit. Half an hour later Tom hasn't come back. What? Okay, what the fuck? They head off to find him. After wandering around the forest looking for him, my uncle manages to lose Declan and trips halfway down a fucking hill in the wet mud, lands hard on something soft. It's Tom, who is staring at my uncle as if he had just took a shit on his grandmother. Tom, what the fuck are you d? Tom interrupts him with a super slow motion point towards a clearing. Uncle described it as a fucking load of pricks in robes staring at a fucking rock in the middle of the poxy forest. They are all standing silently still in blue robes around a tall rock in the middle of the fucking mountains. They haven't noticed my uncle and Tom yet. The 2 of them lie in the mud for nearly 20 minutes in fear. Suddenly fucking Declan bellows, lads, where the fuck are yous, for fuck's sake, it's freezin'. The mob spins around and immediately starts walking towards them. They run like Sonic the shit scared hedgehog back to their camp. Start trying to pack everything. The mob is walking through the forest towards them. Leave things. In car driving. Home. They don't remember anything of the journey. He refuses to go camping now. There were rumors of a cult up there for decades, but that's the only proper sighting.
Be me. 14 at the time. Go camping with parents and younger sister. Note incest.png. At Mount Diablo in CA for anyone interested. Set up camp, sun goes down. Sit around fire till about 11 o'clock just talking and shit. Cool parents let me have alcohol so I'm a little tipsy. They go to bed in their tent. Me and sister are sharing a tent about 50 feet away. Go lay down in tent, Talk for a while. Hear weird sound off a ways outside the tent. Think at first it's my parents fucking. It's too far away and on the opposite side of where they are. It sounded like nails on chalkboard. But organic, like something living had made it, hard to describe. Tell sister it's a deer. She's tired and had a little bit to drink too, so she accepts that and falls straight to sleep. Lay in sleeping bag for about 15 minutes, can't sleep. Not really worried about sound. 30 minutes pass by, still can't sleep. FML, if I had just fallen asleep none of this would have ever happened. Start to hear rustling a little ways off. Tell myself it's prob my dad taking a shit. It sounds like rustling leaves at the top of a tree though. It starts to get really aggressive, like whatever it is trying to take the tree down. Suddenly it gets really quiet. Tookie.png. Try to relax. I've been camping for years and know what foxes and mountain lions sound like. I've heard just about every animal in California forests and still have no idea what could have made the sound I heard then. Literal screech. Pierces the air. Screech isn't a good way to describe it. It sounded like nails on chalkboard at 100x the volume. But the tone was wrong. It had an organic, almost raspy quality to it. Definitely made by an animal. Start to freak the fuck out. Don't want to wake you, oh sister, because she's a giant pussy who will probably just start crying and say I'm trying to scare her. Ain't trying to piss off my parents. Calm self down. Get bored. Decide to stay awake all night and listen for it. If it gets closer it'll go wake up dad. Definitely sobered up by now. Holy fuck.png. Scared but also feel brave for not running to parents. An hour passes. Ain't heard shit. Start playing on my little 20 questions ball thing, those were the shit. Hear sounds kind of near the tent but brush them off as small animals. They weren't coming from the trees. Keep playing. 30-ish minutes pass. Suddenly realize something. There are no sounds coming from outside. Dead silence. Peek head out from under sleeping bag. Literally nothing. Heart starts beating really fast. Get this overwhelming sense of dread. It's cold but I start sweating like fuck. Sit there unmoving in silence for what felt like forever. Ears begin to adjust to the silence and I realize I can hear something. Very quiet but I can just barely pick it up. Realize I can hear breathing. Oh fuck. Again it's in the opposite direction of where my parents' tent is. Towards the forest. Not my sister, she is under her sleeping bag and her breathing is different. The breathing sounds like a horse after it runs. Big, deep breaths. From a big animal. Raspy as fuck. Start trying to convince self all the noises are coming from a hurt deer or something. But deers don't fucking scream like that. Listen for 10 minutes or so. Sister snores and I get distracted for a sec. Try to hone back in on the sound. Realize it's gone. Everything is back to dead fucking silence. Practically pissing myself at this point. Feeling of dread isn't going away. It's getting worse and worse. Start fumbling around as quietly as I can for my flashlight. Hands clammy, fingers spaghetti. Start to smell something weird. Smells like fucking death. Shit. Everything smells like a blood. Praying that my dad will smell it and wake up. Try to call him but my throat closes up. Can't even fucking croak, I'm so fucking scared. Hear something extremely close to the tent. Like the sound your lips make when you open your mouth loudly. Silently start crying. Finally find my flashlight. Trying to find the balls to turn it on. Hear sound extremely fucking close to the tent. Right fucking in front of me. It was like a guttural moan. Like when huskies talk. But really deep and raspy. Time to d.png. Starts making the sound over and over again. Literally piss myself. In the dark I can kind of see something press up against the tent. Vaguely face-shaped. Realize it's trying to actually say something. Tell myself I'm going to count down from 10, then turn on my flashlight and fucking book it to my parents' tent. 10. It stops talking. 9. 8. 7. Shaking so fucking bad. Trying to find tent zipper. 6. 5. Can still see it pressed up against the tent. Realize that my sister's still asleep. Fuck it. 4. Get out of sleeping bag. 3. Start to unzip tent. Look back to where the face was. It's gone. PNG. Nope. Unzip tent, trip over the opening. Run as fast as I fucking can to parents' tent. Trying to scream as loud as I possibly can, but still nothing will come out. Crash into parents' tent. Anon, what the fuck? Grabbing dad, hysterical at this point. He must have been able to tell how scared I was because he instantly changed from angry to concerned. What the fuck is that smell? Can barely fucking speak. There's a face out there. I've never really seen my dad look scared, but if there was a time he did, that was it. Where's your sister? Oh shit. Shit. She's still in the tent. It's open, it's open, it's fucking open. Fucking lose it. Hysterical. I run outside and my dad runs after me. Turn on flashlight and he grabs it and we both keep running towards the tent. Knees are shaking so bad I can barely run. Dad starts screaming for my sister. See the tent. Dad stops and tells me to stay back. It might be a rabid animal if it's not scared by us. Can barely whisper. Daddy, it's not an animal. He starts shining the flashlight around the tent and yelling. It must be a skunk or something, it smells like shit. MFW, skunks don't fucking smell like rotting blood. I think he was trying to be brave. We walk around to the mouth of the tent. Anonsis, are you awake? Gets closer to the mouth of the tent. It's dark, the tent, even though we have a flashlight. Almost looks like a shadow or something being cast in the tent. Wait. There's nothing to be casting a shadow there. I think me and my dad both realized this at the same time. His voice is kind of shaky now. Anonsis? Sorry this is taking so long, blame Steve Jobs. Shadow kind of shudders. Yeah, it's not a fucking shadow. Whoever is in the fucking tent, get the fuck out right now. Dad starts running at the tent. This fucking thing turns around. Completely black. That's why we thought it was a shadow. But its face. Its face was white. Just fucking white. Completely flat. No nose. It had what I guess you could call eyes. Just vertical slits on its flat face. No visible mouth. We'll try to draw a pic. Dad stops dead in his fucking tracks. Just shining light on it. Suddenly it takes off on all fours and runs out of the tent back into the woods. It ran almost like a cat when it gets scared. That's the only way I can describe it. Dad's only shocked for a sec, but then he runs into the tent to check on sister. Dad picks up sister. WTF, this bitch still asleep? She wakes up. Why are you yelling? It's the middle of the night. So you're okay? We go back to our car. Dad tells Mom we need to leave right now. Stop, you're just overreacting. It was probably just a raccoon. Stop being such a pussy. I am not about to drive home in the dark and crash, blah blah blah. Bitch. I'm still scared as fuck, but I'm not pissing myself anymore. It's like maybe 2 or 3 a.m. at this point. Dad finally compromises. Says that we can sleep in the car until 6 a.m. and then we are leaving. Get situated. Dad is still worried about my sister. She seems fine though and falls asleep in the back. Mom and Dad can't sleep, so they go back to their tent but lock us in the car. Laying on the ground. Yeah, I'm not fucking sleeping. An hour passes. Nothing. Well, I had a whole thing typed out and the thread was gone. Fuck mobile. Anyways, this is the last update. We all get into the car to try and wait till morning. Dad is still worried about my sister, but she doesn't seem to remember anything and falls back asleep on the seats in the back. Mom is still pissed and can't sleep. Makes my dad go back to the tent to sleep there with her. They lock us in the car. I'm laying on the ground next to the back seats. Yeah, there's no fucking way I'm sleeping. Still scared but not pissing myself anymore. An hour passes. Start getting hopeful that it's gone for the night. Nope. Smell comes back. So much fucking worse. No fresh air in the car and I think I'm going to vomit. Start to hear shuffling on the ground outside. Don't fucking look out Q windows. My head is near the hinge of the car doors. Start to hear something messing with the car. Sounds like something scraping its nail back and forth over the hinge. Scray off, click scray off. Close my eyes and tell myself no matter what to not look outside. Start hearing this heaving sound. Sounds like coughing, laughing and breathing all at the same time. Right next to my head. Start crying again. Too scared to scream. The moaning starts again. Hi. Hi hi. Hi 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 hi. It's fucking saying hi over and over again. Hi 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 Hugh. Desperately trying to call dad. Sister wakes up. What's going on? Where's dad? Emma, what is that? Oh God help, please God help me. Dad, where are you? Emma, please open your eyes. What is that? What is that? What is that? Hear parents scrambling out of tent. I don't know what they saw because my eyes were still closed, but whatever it was scared them enough to drive away right then and have my dad come back the next day for our stuff. I've camped there numerous times after this and experienced nothing. Hope this was worth the wait. Any idea what I might have seen? I'll start with the last time. For the record, I'm never going to use that word because using it tends to invoke them according to wagon burners and I really don't want to fuck with that. Day after Christmas. Supposed to get a ride from my buddy to a local bar where we're having an unofficial high school reunion. He calls me from the bar and says get down there because they're gonna close if people don't show up. Get in my car and turn on the radio, just jamming out for a minute. Road is completely dead-ass dead. Suddenly music just stops, complete silence, can't even hear my engine but still driving. See something on the edge of my headlights as I'm going around the corner. Looks like an elk, which is NBD around here. Only thing is, it's not on four legs and it's moving fast enough that it stays on the left edge of my headlights, which shouldn't be possible since I'm turning left at 75 miles per hour. Make it to the stop sign where the highways intersect. Car is coming so can't turn. Tap 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 on my window. Luckily car turns towards me and tapping stops, radio comes back on. Drive to bar shaken up, have a beer and play a round of pool to loosen and the bar closes because there's only 6 of us there. The drive home was even worse. Driving home by myself. Past the corner just before my house. Radio stops. Fuck no. Don't miss a beat, just speed into my driveway as fast as possible. Open car door and start running from the door. Hear feet behind me in the snow as I'm moving and they stop just as I make it to the door. Random scratching on my wall most of the night. Seriously, fuck them. Be me 8 years ago. Family, dad, buys into a hunting farm up north. Nice place, probably 400 acres altogether, and then opens up into a national forest. Easy to get lost in if you stray too far from the main trail. Lots of springs with the best water you've ever tasted. Anyway, I, being a young lad of 15 at the time, had ventured off to find one of these springs. Friends and I had an interest in setting up a still to make moonshine. We were 15, booze was hard to come by at the time. How we were supposed to do this was beyond me, but we knew we needed cold water. So I was out looking for a steady water source. I spent a lot of time going deep into the property looking for a good out of the way one a hunter would be less likely to stumble upon. Find one, good clear tasting water and up next to a cliff-like face. Difficult to see from above or below. Spend the next couple of hours cleaning leaves away, making a nice little fireplace ECT. Watch the sunlight dip down. No problem, I took the ATV out, I can make my way back. Spend a few more minutes listening to the woods, the birds, and the wind. Looking back, it was probably the most at peace I'd been in the woods for quite some time. The first thing that made a flag of the fuck run up in my head was that it got real quiet. Actually, quiet isn't probably the right word for it. I mean, silent. Not a single breeze blowing, not one bird chirping, nothing. Zip, zero. Suddenly, nostrils are assaulted by this terrible odor. Imagine if a skunk and a turkey vulture fornicating on top of a rotting carcass. Slowly, the odor changes from overpowering stench to just death. Seriously, there's no other way to describe it. It just smelled like death. Kind of like wet moss in a mausoleum. Again, all this is to the soundtrack of nothing. Only the wood popping in my fire is. I actually think the lack of sound is what gave me the heebie-jeebies at first. Notice two lights out in the distance, up high, above the trees. Strange type of light too, like the kind of light you'd see on a fogged-over glass. It's not really projecting anywhere or lighting up anything. Just kind of burning so you can see it and nothing more. Mind is running through possibilities of what it could be, already beginning to note between the smell of death and the silence. Notice lights are getting closer, and they're next to each other. Notice that they're only 20 or so feet above the trees. I'm already with my back flat against the cliff face at this point. I've already decided that whatever this thing is, I don't want anything to do with it. It was probably close to 70, 80 feet tall. With the head of a buck, those eyes with that dull light. The stench was overpowering at this point. As it moved, it didn't knock over the trees, just kind of meshed through them. I could see that the deer's head was mangy and it looked like stuff was leaking out of it. All I can say about the body is that it was big, as I had bigger problems when it stopped. It paused for only a moment parallel to my campfire. If it looked down it would have seen me. But it only paused, sniffed the air and then in the largest bounds I've ever seen, darted away, headed north. After making sure that I was indeed alive, I lit the fire in the ATV and tore off back for camp. I don't think I slept for 2 months after that.
Connecting the VR headset, SINISTER and Greentext.